Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the debrief with two familiar faces, myself and Gabe. Leeds United have just dispatched a Plymouth side who have got the second biggest goal tally at home this season so far. They've got a really good home record in general, not been beaten since October, and Leeds go into this weekend with Ipswich playing in nigh on 20 minutes' time after a sort of a 2-0 win over Plymouth. Gabe, fantastic result for the Whites, has to be said. A little bit of a nervy game, definitely a nervy game, but Leeds did what they did at the end of the day, mate, and got the victory, which was all important. How did you see the game?
Yeah, I thought it was a professional performance, right? Workmanlike, tough place to play, tough place to go. I mean, even just aesthetically, even watching on the television, that stadium, that place.
you, yeah. What are you not liking Plymouth now either?
No, of course not. And I'm being dead serious. I just it was offensive to my eyes. Anyway, I can't even imagine. Got like poor Brownie. And I think Oscar's there as well. Yeah,
Oscar,
I mean, just having to sit in the rain as well. Going to come back with pneumonia. Look, we controlled the game possession-wise, as you'd expect. Were we at our sharpest? No, but a number of times we've talked about, both in years past and maybe earlier this season, we wanted to see us see out difficult matches where maybe lead sides of old would have found a way to bottle that or draw that match or whatever.
Yep.
But no, it was very professional from beginning to end. Even when you're not 100% and things aren't clicking and firing on all cylinders, you want to see a professional performance, and that's what they gave. I was really pleased with. We kept a clean sheet
again.
Yeah, it's just. So I was really pleased with it. Obviously, there were stretches of the match where you're not really impressed by what's going on. But again, it's hard. It was raining again. The pitch is terrible. Like, there's a lot of things you can list. I wouldn't use those for excuses if we drew the match or lost it. Yeah. But winning 2-0 at a stretch in the season where all it's going to take is one little slip up, and we could find ourselves permanently fixated in third, and that's not what we want. So I was very pleased, despite maybe it not being the best match to watch at certain stretches.
February 17th is the earliest into any calendar year that Leeds United have ever registered 10 wins. The previous earliest was March 9th in 1968. It is the earliest into a year any second-tier side has ever won 10 games in Football League history. Not a bad statistic, Gabe, and it does feel at the minute that Leeds are just, I don't know, there was a pit, I'll be honest, I was really impressed with them. Really, especially when we saw the difference with what Swansea gave. I thought when they played out from the back today, they were very competent. I thought they were able to get up the pitch pretty nicely from the goalkeeper and the back two. They didn't seem under that much pressure. We've seen Crescencio, we've seen Willie, we've seen Rutter press really high and disrupt teams, and I thought that Plymouth dealt with that really well, and they were able to strike. They were roughing Leeds up in the right ways, and that's because obviously, Gabe, we know the referees just seem to allow this a lot at this level. But overall, listen, we came up against a good team today. There's a flash across goal where you thought a touch and it's 1-1. And this is a team sort of in 90 minutes who Leeds have struggled against to get the job done at home and away, obviously in the cup. So it's a good win for Leeds, has to be said. Really good win today.
Yeah, 100%. To go off your point about the refereeing in this division, it's not even about whether it benefits or hurts us. Every match I watched the West Brom match yesterday. The officiating was just dire. Couldn't believe how poor it was. Our last match, the officiating was dire, both by allowing a handball goal. Well, I guess that wasn't last match. I'm starting to conflate things. But anyway, point being, the officiating's really poor in this division. I love that they gave a free kick instead of a penalty.
Oh my God, unbelievable!
I'm just like,
unbelievable.
I think to get away from fixating on that for a minute, I think what I'm happiest about, and you have to split the credit here 50-50. 50% has to go to Daniel Farke for getting these players ready to play and coming on and having an impact. And then the other 50% has to go to the players for taking their chances and coming on and being impactful. There are some players in our team that are absolutely undroppable. We know that. But for the positions of even players that are playing really well and scoring goals, there's not a whole lot of margin for error because you have guys like Dan James came on and was very good today when he came on. was
It was
really impactful.
very
He
good.
put them on the back foot. We almost went up 3-0 because of him. So if you're Willie Gnonto, you know that you have to keep scoring goals, which is a great place to be as a
Oh
club.
yeah, yeah.
If you're Daniel Farke and you have these guys in a position where, in order to keep your place in the team, you have to score goals every week. What more do you want? It's really a nice place to be. It's a little bit new for us, I think, but I'm really enjoying it.
And 8 wins,
Yeah.
seven clean sheets. It's
Mhm.
staggering, really, when you think about it, isn't it? And it does make you think. Going into Leicester, um, Leeds the favourites. It's got to that point now where we are just winning, and you're getting a team who is 12 points ahead of us, I believe, when all's said and good. And then you've got Southampton, who've had one defeat in 24, Leeds United, who've now, I believe I think it's 10 wins in 12 or 11 wins in 13. We always go on about it, Gabe, and it does get a little bit boring, but we have to emphasize it once again. This league, it's probably the most competitive league in Europe right now, in terms of just four teams who are
The competitive top for promo. Yeah, I think
four teams who, obviously Leicester. Someone put in the comments, Gabe, listen to this one. If Leicester are to lose against Leeds United, and they're to lose, I believe it is today, I think, and we beat Leicester, obviously, it narrows it down to 6 points. It
is sort of inconceivable that if you're Southampton, you lose 1 in 24, and you're, you're seesawing back and forth between second and third. I mean, under normal circumstances. So I know what you mean. I sort of shy away from any kind of bold declarations about the league strength, but no, you're right. And this race it feels like a 3-way nuclear arms race. Just, if anybody enjoys the 50s and 60s and that period of history. But yeah, I'm delighted with the result today. We have to keep winning. Southampton showed that they're not going to give us any free ones. It's an exciting time to be a Leeds fan right now, because we have a very real prospect. We have multiple avenues for promotion, right?
Yeah.
We have a squad that's very good in this division with a lot of quality, and we have worthy opponents that we're facing. I mean, not necessarily Plymouth, but Southampton, Leicester. I know that we would love to just walk the league. That would be the emotionally safest thing for every Leeds fan. But there is a gratification of knowing that if you get an automatic promotion spot and you beat these teams, you're beating very good teams at this level. And that is, as a competitor, that's what you want. You want to face people that are worthy adversaries. You don't want to be playing down to your opponents, which, again, to reemphasize today's match, we didn't do that. And this could have been, and we'd seen it earlier in the season when we didn't really find a rhythm. Sometimes we were playing down to the opponents. But right now, and it seems like Farke has really, really beaten that stuff out of the side. And I'm really pleased with how we're playing.
Ronnie says, we looked unsettled today. Something wasn't clicking. This is what we need, though. It's all about the 3 points. A little rest before Leicester at home. Yeah, and it's a big rest now. Obviously, Leicester is the only game that we have next week, which is fantastic, Gabe. It's all good at the minute. It's all good. It feels right. It feels just like, we're not scraping wins. That today was a different sort of performance. And it's one of those where you're just happy overall that sort of Leeds have done what they've needed to do. And it's a different performance. Perot, so obviously not on number 9. Looks a different player from deep. Lovely weight on the pass for Rutter's goal, and nearly had DJ through to. Yeah, I think it's a good point. Ricky was on the watch along, and I think it's one of those where you do once again look at it, and it's like me and Gabe have said plenty of times now. It's Perot and Rutter. And they are both in that 10 position. We saw it again today. I mean, Rutter, for me, was the lead man. He was the lead man for a lot of it today. And you had Perot dropping in. And this is what we faced beforehand. And it's just, as we mentioned, systematically, Joseph or a Bamford and number 9s. But
I'm not letting you sneak that Joseph in there. No, go on. Keep going.
But Perot is the better player. The Perot is better technically than both of them, I think. But systematically, I do think we suffer when we don't have a number 9 in. And it's interesting, Gabe, again today. there wasn't as many long balls, and there was not as many long
Right.
balls, and they were pressing on us. So I just thought it's so fascinating how as soon as Perot is in this side, those long balls just become a little bit
Yeah.
more minimal. It's
He
so
doesn't run the
interesting.
channels the same way. I
No,
gotta give him some credit here today because, like, I made a note that he was so unremarkably good today. And what I mean by that was he does things in a way that even when he does something impressive, like it wasn't an assist, but it was a key pass that set up Jorginho on the run for his goal. I mean, he plays a good pass at a good speed. Even when he does things that are like he would have assisted Jorginho on that his deflected shot that went off the bar, you know. Even when he does things that are really good, the way he does it at such a some of it he just suffers from body language. You're sort of just like, and it's not to say he doesn't care, he's not trying, but even his facial expression, everything is just like, so you're just kind of like, he makes remarkable things look unremarkable, and it sort of speaks to how good he is in a way that he makes certain things that are not easy. If they were easy, everybody would do them. Look easy. So it was funny because I was like, I was kind of going back and forth. I was like, oh, that's a really good moment there. I was playing some nice one-touch passing while we're under pressure. That's really good. Retaining possession, finding guys, making key passes. That's what you want him to do. Why does it look not remarkable? I guess aesthetically, it's just one of these things that it doesn't register the same way. So I kind of wanted to diminish it. But yeah, to that point, you're right. It feels like it's not clicking. But when you step back and look, possession, we dominated. Scoreline, we dominated. We snuffed out. I mean, I know they had a couple of sort of half chances here and there as the game wore on, but and we weren't sharp either. I mean, Somerville, I thought, had tunnel vision today. He really just wanted to cut inside and get a goal.
I thought it was poor. I thought it was poor today.
Yeah, and he's a young player. He's still the best player in the championship. He's going to have those. I thought Jorginho was like a roller coaster today. There were sometimes I was like, "What are you doing, man?" And then other times I was like, "Wow, that was brilliant." So that's what you get with these young, talented guys. It's a weird place because, again, if the results are different and we're not dominating the game, then you look at these little things and say, "Oh, this is that," you know, and they bother you more. I think the only yellow flag, and it's sort of like yellow greenish. I just want to, raise it here, is that we've played Plymouth 3 times recently. We've played Swansea, Bristol City. We haven't played great teams lately. So we've won 8 in a row. That is wonderful. I don't want to take anything away from it. The true test for us is Leicester, and that's our next match. If we come away and we beat Leicester like we did, if we throttle them, or even just get a good result, a workman result, I will probably say, come on the show after and say we're going up automatically. I'll probably do that.
See, normally it's the other way, but I think you're being a bit harsh there.
I'm not being harsh. No. Let me rephrase. I'm just in a miserable mood. But let me just rephrase. I don't think it's not impressive that we've won 8 in a row. I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm just saying that I think the DNA of this team, if we come out through this, if we win 9 matches in a row, and the last, and the capstone of that achievement is Leicester, who's top of the league, then I will be fully convinced that we're going up. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think
right now I'm not.
I think today, the big, you got to put context into this game as well. As I know Plymouth aren't these high flyers, but when it comes to home form and the goals scored and the last time they got beat, which was in October, which is now on 4 months ago now. I think today, I know you might say, look, it's not a sort of like hallmark win when you're looking at some of the teams in this division, but I think this lot are a very, very decent team at home. I think even when we played them in the FA Cup, we had our chances, but they had a spell in that FA Cup game where, they held strong. They were only 1-0 down. They held strong, and then they got back into it again, and they did the exact same thing at Ellen Road, and that's what I was a little bit worried about today. I guess for me, Gabe, the impressive thing about this Leeds side is today we've gone there and we've scored twice. Yep. And they've not scored against us, which is a marked improvement on the FA Cup in 90 minutes. And it's a marked improvement on what happened at Ellen Road. So I think as well, like, the big thing is today, the mileage, mate, the mileage that they've been doing, like Plymouth twice, bottom of the country, Swansea, Cardiff, Bristol City, the mileage that they've been doing it does have to be taken into context. I feel like it's, people don't really. It's like, players, it's football players, this, that, and the other. But it's a marked effort from the fans as well when it comes to support. But also, I think on the players, I know they're getting flights down and all this sort of stuff. But it's not your comfortable home game. It's not your comfortable
It's
Huddersfield
all in
or
the
Rotherham
rain as
just down
well
the
and
road.
cold, and that
But it's
does
been
take
that.
a toll on your
But I
body.
know. But Gabe, that has been. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. That's been every single game.
It
It's been.
has.
It's miserable in
Looks
Cardiff.
like the same
Miserable
game,
in
doesn't it? It's
Swansea.
just a terrible pitch. It's
Yeah.
foggy and it's raining. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
So, but it does affect the conditions of a football
Yeah,
game. It
does.
does. It means that players have got to be really cautious on the ball. You saw a couple of times today when the ball was like slipping under Firpo's foot and slipping under Kamara's foot in the middle. But let's just get into a few comments. Everybody, keep getting your comments in. No point in the rest of the league even playing. They got no chance of going up in this
I love
season.
it, Paul.
Yeah, Carol says, afternoon, another 3 points. Stephen says, said on a stream before Nonto is firing is a new. Said on a stream before Nonto firing is a new signing as much or better than a Manuel Benson ever would be. Yeah, no, I completely
This
agree.
is kind
with
of
you.
why we said why bring Manuel Benson in, because Willie
Completely
Nonto is so
agree with
good. So I think I see what you're saying there, and I think you're right.
Will says, kept Whittaker quiet, something most side in the leagues in this league have failed. Yeah, Whittaker's got like 14 goals, I think, and he was just completely quiet in pretty much. We played him 3 times now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think well, he's not done anything, has he? Good win, says JP. JC in the building as well. I know what you're saying, Gabe, but we can only beat what's in front of us. We could lose to Leicester, which we won't, by the way, and still win every other game. That is true. I'm
gonna have to re-explain this. So I'm not saying we won't go up if we lose to Leicester. I'm just saying I go from like an 85% confidence interval to like a 99% confidence interval if we win 9 in a row and beat Leicester as our achievement. I'm not saying it's not impressive that we haven't beaten these teams.
I know they're a top team. I know they're a top team, but that's not been, for me, that Leicester game wasn't one of the toughest we've had this season, which is a crazy statement to make.
But here's the thing, Connor, and I've heard many of us in this space talk about how Leicester's not that impressive, and I think that's anecdotal. Like we've watched a couple games, we've been like, oh, they don't look that impressive. Statistically, I mean, they've scored more goals in the division than anybody, including us, including Southampton. They've conceded fewer, including us, including Southampton. They've controlled possession even better than we have. I mean, they are fantastic. It has to be said. Now, I'm not saying they're head and shoulders clear of us at all. We've beaten them before. What I'm saying simply, and it's a very kind of narrow focal point, is that we've just won 8 games in a row. It's very impressive. Southampton have gone on a run of 24 where they've only lost 1. So there are other teams in this top 4 area. There are teams doing some impressive stuff, and it speaks to a gulf in quality between the elite in the division and everybody else. Now, you still have to go win the games, and that's still impressive. It doesn't take anything away from it. What would be most impressive to me is if we then play Leicester and beat them up. Then I will say, this is 9 games in a row we've won, and we've beaten the league leaders. I'm convinced there's nobody in this division that can beat us, and it's all going to come down to, manhandling Southampton as well. I'm not saying that it's not impressive to win 9 in a row. It is. We can't play Plymouth every week. We're gonna have to play Leicester.
But we've smashed up Ipswich, who haven't scored against us, and we've beaten Leicester already as well.
But we lost to Southampton, right? And early in the season, it's a new. I'm just saying you can't have an 100% or 99% confidence interval like a betting odds if you haven't seen us play these teams again. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel really good about it. I feel very optimistic about our ability to take second place right now. I will feel over the moon about it if we beat Leicester and capstone this run with 9 in a row.
Would you take a draw?
Yeah, sure. I want to win. Yeah, I want to win.
Yeah,
but
I feel like it, I don't know why. I mean, it's just because I'm on this like level of confidence at the minute, and I know we're at an interesting phase when it comes to Leeds at the minute. But I'd feel a little bit disappointed if we didn't win, and even if we picked up a draw.
Me too.
Look, it'd be brilliant if we got a point off them. But I just think in that first game when we played them, they were sort of fully firing. We were fully firing, and I just thought over the game we just completely nullified them, and they just were not able to get ahead of steam at all. They had a moment of brilliance, didn't they? When Fatu hit the bar, but it's going to be interesting because they're coming up against. I mean, but that West Brom game they played away, I thought they were incredibly lucky. That was probably the most recent one where they played a really good team, and I'll be interested to see us against them. I mean, it's a shootout, isn't it? It's arguably two of the best teams. Well, it is statistically right now, anyway, as we speak, two of the best teams going head to head, really. So, yeah.
When you ask me would I take a draw, I wouldn't take a draw before the match. I'm just saying if we come away from the match with a draw, I'm not going to be fuming and raging and gnashing my teeth. I want us to win. We should win, and I hope we
agree. I agree with Jack. It's true Leeds fashion. It's all going to come down to that Southampton game at the end of the season. It will. Because I just think there's not going to be much between them. I think Southampton are going to win a lot of games. I think Leeds are going to win a lot of games.
Probably.
So I can't imagine it's going to be more than 3 points that separates us, to be honest. Rick says, I honestly believe we'll go to the end of the season unbeaten and win the league.
Let's go, Rick.
Yes,
Rick. I'm not mad at that. See, I like seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. Jay says he can't see Leeds dropping any points at the minute. Ty says, nah, I'll win if we want second spot.
100%. Yeah.
Connor, you were slagging off the team against Plymouth and your
What?
PLZ work says, funny. Some of the people in the chat were absolutely bashing the team in the watch along. Now we're never dropping points. Funny. I think we will secure.
Wait, I didn't watch the watch along. Were you slagging off the team while you were watching?
No, I wasn't slagging off the team. Jesus, man. You're like if someone loses the ball and you'll go, fucking hell, they're not playing that well today. That is apparently slagging the team off. Like, fucking hell.
Connor burned his Leeds shirts in the middle of the match.
Yeah. You're just calling them all names and just shouting at them again.
Oh,
Gabe and Connor on the beers for a watch long on Friday. Could be a shout. Do you want to get the old rum out, Gabe? Are you not bothered? We'll have to wait and see.
I'm a whiskey guy, single malt. You can see my Scotch collection back there somewhere. Yeah.
Scotch collection. Yeah, I had some whiskey last night, and that's why I'm feeling it a little bit. Jesus Christ, that's some bourbon. Not really whiskey, but
bourbon is whiskey.
I know, but it's like this fake sort of watered down one we've got. But I'm not feeling great today. I think we'll secure top 2 by mid-April.
Go, Jay. Love it.
Gabe laughing like Muttley. Do you know who Muttley is?
No.
Search him after the game. You did have a bit of a Muttley one there. But he lost you for ages there. Needs to link the two shows better, please. Perhaps it's just me. Oh, sorry there, Chris. Yeah, you can just... I was saying it on the... we're always live on the channel, mate, afterwards. So Ryan says... Connor said he never wants to see Rutter in a Leeds shirt again.
Yeah, he did, clearly.
Classic me. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of anything else that we need to touch on, mate. To be honest with you, I think it's been pretty decent, and I think it's Leeds with another win. I think we've highlighted a lot of good performances, and we'll wait and see what happens with Ipswich now. We're about to kick off, I think. So,
controversially, can I say one thing that I think might surprise people in our comment section? I thought Meslier was more decisive today than he needed to be. I'm not saying that I am now on the pro Meslier train. Everybody knows how I feel about him. The clean sheets, he's had nearly nothing to do. But when the ball has gone into danger areas today, he's done well to decisively punch it away. And in a messy match where it's raining, the pitch is poor, and maybe we're not doing great, you always want to err on the side of caution. So I'll give him that small compliment that I thought he was more decisive today.
I thought he was good. Yeah, I thought he was good today. I thought it was one of his better games. I thought it was definitely one of his better games today. So I was impressed by him. I really was.
It can't be one of his better games. Did he have to make any saves? How many shots on target did they have?
That's
I think
the
he
thing,
made one save.
But that's the thing, you can't really judge him on that. But on that,
it's unfair. It's just like in one of his better games
yeah.
today, nothing happened with him.
But on that, to be fair though, like I was saying, I've said it multiple times. Like you've got to keep your level of concentration up if we dominate play like we have. I think there's a couple of balls into the box where, I mean, you're judging him really on. I think we've all got to judge him on his corner sort of anticipation at the minute because sometimes he flaps, but he seems to get strong hands on it. So I don't know if you caught it. There was a really like excellent whip ball in, and I thought, Jesus Christ, a good ball in. I think it was Randall who was sort of pulling the strings in the middle for them, and he made a really good. He claimed it for the first time. I thought he was going to palm it. He claimed it, dragged it into his chest. I thought it was a really good take, to be fair. And he's apart from one where I sort of like lost my mind on the watch along a little bit. And distribution wise, I think he was all right, to be honest. A few mix. Gabe, I tell you what, he played a few long balls, one to Rutter, and I believe it was one to Dan James and Nonto, actually, which were actually really, really decent long balls. His range was pretty good today. So that thing is that, mate, that's all we can judge him on. That's all we can really judge him on. If he's got
the only
nothing
moment that
to
was
do
kind of
throughout the
funny,
game.
the only moment that was kind of funny is when they had that free kick that Rodon gave on the edge. It wasn't quite the edge of the box, but it was a little bit out, but it was wide to the right. And they played a really poor, just hooked ball in right on goal. And he just kind of shifts 2 steps over and hits his chest. He still spilled it somehow. It's like,
Oh,
just hold the ball, man. I get it. It's wet and stuff, but it was kind of a funny moment. It's just like, oh, Melier, come on.
Yeah,
like it came to nothing. It wasn't a big deal, but yeah, anyway, I'm turning this into a weird opportunity to dunk on the kid. He did fine.
Lapis says evening home park was lively today. Poor ref again. Plymouth stopped Leeds from playing normal game, but in turn stopped Plymouth from playing theirs. Yeah, I think they were good. I think Plymouth were decent today. I think they were one of the better teams we've faced this season, to be honest with you. I think we've seen that with the results as well. 4-1 is 4-1 in extra time. Over 90 minutes, it was 1-1. Ellen Road, it was 1-1. So they're one of the better teams we've faced. Bearing in mind, they've just come up from League One as well. So they're a good organised side. I was saying to Gabe earlier, if you guys have just joined, that the passing out from the back was really impressive. I thought it was really, really impressive. So, yeah, it's a good win for Leeds. As I say, first time they've been beaten at home park since October. So, yeah, guys, we'll probably leave it there. Make sure you're checking out the instant match reaction and a couple of the highlights from the watch long as well. Well worth it. And we'll be back tomorrow with 3 things. As I said, enjoy your Saturday. Leeds get a win. Let's hope that Ipswich bottle it as well. We will catch you on the other side. Cheers.
Cheers.